New book by Daily Wire reporter Luke Rosiak reveals the never-before told story of America's first woke school system and the racial nut who pioneered it. Now, her name is Tracy Castro Gill. This woman married a convicted child molester and, until recently, was the director of ethnic studies for Seattle Public Schools. Here she is explaining her overall teaching philosophy.
We have to first build students up because their humanity has been so degraded because of colonization and anti-Blackness. We have to build students up with their identity so that they are safe enough in their identity to have these conversations about oppression.
Now, how did she put this twisted outlook into practice? Well, Luke Rosiak writes that under her leadership, the Seattle school system decided to partially replace the curriculum of math with every grade with math ethnic studies. The goal was to close the achievement gap, and that means lower the bar. Well, of course, the opposite happened. Rosiak notes the performance of black students at those schools plummeted, with the black passing rate dropping from 28% in math to under 18% the next school year. Of course, none of this failure did not deter Castro Gill, who actually admitted helping minority students was never her goal. Closing achievement opportunity gaps is a Western way of thinking about education. We should never close that gap because it provides space for reflection and growth. We did not make that up. Joining me now is Vince Ellison, author of 25 Lies, and Chris Rufo, senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute, has been instrumental in exposing CRT in schools. Now, Chris, you live in the Seattle area. We already reported about the Amazon decision to move 1,800 of its employees out of the city because of the crime. And now this, with the schools, this has got to be one of the most destructive things I have ever heard.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, just a few years ago, Seattle was one of the most beautiful, thriving, prosperous cities in the country. They elected a far-left city council that absolutely wrecked it. And it really shows that public policy matters. These decisions have an impact. And unfortunately, I know I pulled my kids out of Seattle Public Schools. It was a disaster. They were tying up disabled kids. There were fights all the time, people exposing themselves on the playground. Total nightmare, and it's all by design by these policymakers.
Now, Vince, a friend of mine said to me the other day, in 10 years, there will be very few people of faith left in the public school system because they're so incredibly oppositional to any type of American tradition, respect for our Constitution. They become left-wing indoctrination camps. Your thought on just the future of public schools with this direction they're going in?
Well, I have a chapter in my book about public education and how the Democrat Party is against school choice. Look, let's make one thing perfectly clear. The Democrat Party and the teachers' unions are synonymous. They work together to do two things, to either indoctrinate or to demoralize your students. Democrat Party heaven is America's hell. Always has been, always will be. And C.S. Lewis told us that hell is a choice. And I wondered, what was he talking about? But then I see it. People that choose to vote for a party that will disarm you, indoctrinate your children into gender reassignment, and will just keep you in a ghetto where the songs and the lyrics and the movies tell you that the people are living in hell are choosing to live in hell. But we have an option. We can decide to vote for candidates that support school choice, vouchers, charters, tax credits, and get our children out of the government school system. All school teachers are not bad. Some are very, very good. Some are terrible. But the teachers' unions are an evil institution, and they're connected to another evil institution, and that is the Democrat Party leadership in America.
Now, Chris, I want to remind everybody tonight that parents are waking up. Moms are waking up of all political persuasions about what's really happening in these schools. I want everyone to hear what an Illinois mom had to say at a school board meeting recently about grooming children in school. Watch.
There have been some teachers counseling students pushing a transgender agenda, telling that those students to tell their to keep it from their parents. I know in the high school there have been names changed and genders changed without parental notice.
Chris, this is tantamount to a war against parents.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You're hearing it all over the country. Teachers think that children belong to them, not to their parents. Teachers' unions feel the same way. But parents are very concerned, and the facts are very simple. According to the Department of Education, the rate of sexual abuse in public schools is more than 100 times greater than the rate of sexual abuse in Catholic churches, which was a nationwide scandal. There is a lot of things going wrong. Parents should be rightly afraid of the grooming, the sexualization of their kids. We've seen even with the DeSantis legislation to stop sexualization of kids from kindergarten through third grade, a huge effort against it. But why do adults want to be talking to kids about sex and sexuality when they're only 4, 5, and 6 years old? There is something deeply wrong. It's got to be exposed, and we need better public policies and better leadership to make it stop.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm hoping the Democrats run on this. I'm hoping if they really believe in this, they should run on it in November. So that's what I'm urging them to do. Chris and Vince, great to see you both tonight.